A lot of it still remains unresolved. Dollmaker was merely a cog in the wheel. A bigger shadow lingers. Yes. We must stay vigilant until we expose the true culprits and destroy their plans for good.
Yeah, about that. That entire plot point was completely forgotten. Add that to the long list of things that were thrown into Aleph-1 and erased, just like Ian Lin's relevance in both the meta and the story. With that out of the way, let's get to the video, shall we? After making the video about the top 5 worst anime gacha worlds to live in, I pondered a little about something that has been bugging me for quite some time. Why do most anime gachas love the post-apocalyptic setting or world-ending events? For as far as I'm aware, anime gachas love this type of setting, but why is that? Well, in this video I will try to explore the reasons why the writers of those stories might prefer this type of setting. The worlds in which a lot of anime gachas take place are on the verge of complete extinction of the human race or human civilization. They are places filled with suffering and pain, packaged very nicely with waifus and sold to the larger public. Well, the answer to the previous question might lie in the characteristics of the setting, my dear viewer. This type of setting in itself has the potential to explore darker themes. The main theme in those stories is to push human will to its absolute limit, the idea of humanity's will to keep fighting in the face of adversity. At the same time, such a setting can expose more darker aspects about humanity, that being when pushed into a corner and at the brink of absolute despair, humans will try to even abandon every shred of morality if it might lead to surviving another day. In such contexts, plot points like human experimentation, child soldiers, increased factionalism, and distrust in other human groups become more common. Also, those types of stories capture a form of excitement in us viewers that is unique to those settings. We are captivated by the journey that those characters undertake in order to overcome all this pain and suffering. Other settings outside of the gacha space like Berserk, Nier Automata, or the Souls games have over time popularized the idea of constant struggle in modern media. That is because from constant struggle, every triumph, no matter how great or insignificant it might seem, feels rewarding and brings us a sense of joy, and it shows us that behind the layers of constant doom and gloom, there is some beauty in writing such worlds. To add to the possible reasons of why anime gachas go with the world-ending disasters, we might add the fact that from a world-building point of view, such worlds are easier to write. Due to the world being mostly in ruins, it does not require going into so many details on every location the characters might visit, and writers can get away with leaving vague backstories about those places, just like how in the real world we have very little information about the distant past due to most sources being lost over time. Also, from a visual point of view, such worlds have an appeal of their own. Walking through abandoned cities in ruins, just like how in the real world we might walk through ruins of civilizations from the past when we go on historical sites. Such worlds are able to provide unique landscapes, and even the wastelands have their own aesthetics due to nature ending up being altered by the disasters that hit humanity. Another reason for such a choice of setting might be because the idea of an old world being destroyed and in its ashes a new one ends up being born is something that fascinated us humans for a long time. Let me elaborate a little. Since antiquity, We have been obsessed with the idea of the world ending at some point. Both Abrahamic religions and other religions have in some way, shape or form stories about great calamities or about how the world will end. And those thoughts lasted even in the modern day, like during the Cold War, when we as a species were very close to ending our own existence, and even nowadays, due to the events happening around the world, which make us grow more and more anxious about the direction we might go in the future. Throughout human history, periods of peace were very rare and ended up with long periods of crisis that led to old civilizations, states or political and administrative systems being replaced by new ones. The Bronze Age collapse, the fall of the Roman Empire, the collapse of the Han dynasty, the Mongol invasions, the 30 Years' War, and so on were periods in time of such intense struggle that humans generally believed that the world was about to end. And such events fascinate humans to this day because of the many reasons that can be listed as a cause. But those moments of extreme crisis in human history ended up changing the course of humanity, and in those times tales of extreme heroism were born out of the necessity for humanity to find some hope. From a writer's point of view, such themes of hope, heroism, pushing the will of humanity to its absolute limit are a goldmine. Just like in the recent Absolute Universe in DC Comics, in a world that seems so doomed, hope needs to burn even brighter in order to overcome the struggle. That is why so many gacha characters portray themes of heroism to such an extreme that they might seem insane because they represent the hope of the worlds they live in, worlds that lost everything besides the feeling of hope. And even that feeling seems to fade away. And this is also why, besides the cruelty, human ingenuity can shine so well in such settings. Because of humanity being pushed into a corner, humans need to learn to adapt in order to survive due to not being anymore at the top of the food chain, humanity being regressed to a state similar to the one during prehistory, when humans were not yet the dominant predator on land and had to face all the other animals that were roaming this planet at the time in order to survive until we started building civilizations that served as symbols of human power over this world, no longer being threatened by other animals and turning our attention towards one another, thus turning this planet into a giant PvP arena where humans fought against humans due to a lack of competition from other species. Anime gachas seem to love creating worlds in which humanity is regressed to a state similar to the one from tens or hundreds of thousands of years ago. And this was the video. I hope you enjoyed my barely scripted rambling about why anime gacha worlds seem to go for the world-ending events or post-apocalyptic settings. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one.